Hey guys, Captain Dylan Hubbard here at Hubbard's Marina, and we are just about ready to get started on our live stream show. Just need a few more minutes to get rolling here, guys, and we are going to get this show on the road. So while we get that show started up, we're going to cut off the sound as we prepare for the show, and we'll get the sound started shortly, closer to around 8:30, and we'll start the video shortly thereafter. If you're watching live, don't forget to comment where you're watching from, and don't forget to like the video on Facebook for us. Thank you, Joey Sloan, for getting us kicked off with those 100 stars. Appreciate you, buddy. Thanks for watching from North Carolina. And appreciate y'all. We're going to get started, like I said, here very shortly. We're going to stop the sound for a little bit, and shortly we'll start the video up and the sound up as well. So bear with us here as we get started. If you're watching live, bear with us. If you're not watching live, you can skip forward to where you see the video start. Video should start in around 7 or 8 minutes here once we get closer to 8:30 p.m. So bye for now, but I'll see you in about 8 minutes once we get closer to 8:30. Y'all ready for this? Don't forget to comment where you're watching from. If you're watching on YouTube, don't forget to subscribe. Appreciate you guys. We're going to get started shortly. Testing 1, 2. Oh, there I go. Hey guys, Captain Dylan Hubbard here at Hubbard's Marina, and we are ready to rock and roll. We got Mike Boylan in the studio tonight from Mike's Weather Page. You ready to rock and roll, Mike?
Man, I'm ready. I'm wired and geared up, man.
All right, let's get this video started. We'll see if the button works.
I like to.
Oh,
yeah,
it worked.
Look
Look at that. All right.
Woo, man, look at that. I love it.
Yes, sir. All right, guys. So, again, this is Mike from Mike's Weather Page. I'm Dylan, and thank you, Mark, for those stars, for getting us started off here. Appreciate everybody for sending your stars on Facebook. If you're watching on YouTube, stars is just simply a way for you to show support. And then on YouTube, you can make sure to subscribe to the channel. That always helps us out, too. Well, we are going to launch right into it tonight and try to get into these photos because we want to spend a lot of time picking the brain of this guy over here and talk a lot about weather and what's going on with weather and what's coming up, etc., etc. So let's get the show started, as always, and show you guys what we've been catching inshore, what's going on inshore right now. So with that, we will show you the redfish. The redfish bite's been good, man. The top water, early morning action. A lot of mullet have been moving around the flats, and those mullet, when they're down there foraging, stir up a lot of bait and gets those shrimp excited. And those redfish have been chewing well on those top waters. Remember, top water baits only really low light conditions in shallow waters, so less than 4 foot and early morning dusk time frame is what you're looking for on those top water baits. Also, the dock lines have been working well for the redfish too. Cut bait, soft plastics, all good ideas. These are both dock line caught fish. And of course, our buddy Seabiscuit, the first mate on our half day and all day trip, showing off a nice redfish he caught on a small pinfish before one of our trips. Lucas fishing the seawalls with live shrimp, catching those redfish. Another one from Luke Simons at Salt Strong and Luke Simons' better half. Definitely some nice snook moving into the area too. The snook action's picking up. That water's warming up. You can see those fish really starting to fill into the pass. That warmer trend that we're on right now.
Oh yeah, that's
definitely. And that's what's so cool about tonight's show is weather really affects fishing.
Oh yeah, you caught me off guard when I read your what you guys talk about. So I had to learn about fishing and weather. I think I'm going to sound kind of smart. I'm going to fake it, but it's the last cool night of the year. I'm calling it. You better enjoy tonight.
Yes, and I have enjoyed it. It's been a really late cold front year this year.
Yeah, it was brisk this morning. It was 70 or 66, and I'm like almost nippy.
Yeah. And what's funny is a lot of our viewers are from like Midwest and north of Georgia.
They laugh at us, right?
Yes, they always laugh when I say it's cold when it's in the low 70s.
Oh yeah.
And it is cold for Floridians.
Well, it's wet. It's when you get that humidity with the cool, it's different. It's a different kind of cold.
Yeah, I'm just used to it always being humid in Florida.
Yeah.
But as I was saying, the snook are definitely on the move. They're back into the passes now and moving out into the beaches. And we're seeing more and more of them, especially at night around those bridge lights, dock lights. And it's only going to get better as that water continues to warm up. And we're seeing more of them trout around the passes, around the jetties, around the grass flats. You're looking for those deep cuts, potholes. This one at night, the dock lights, bridge lights have been loaded down with those trout, chasing a lot of that white bait we've been seeing around. And definitely some good nighttime action around the passes when the water's moving. So good stuff there. And that's about it. Inshore, let's work our way offshore or near shore and offshore and show you what we've been catching there. The hogfish bite, definitely something to write home about this past week. We've been seeing a lot of those hogfish resurging onto the scene. We mostly see them in the cooler months, but they've definitely been coming back. It seems like their spawn is over and they're getting back on those ledges. This one is a fairly typical 10-hour all-day stringer right now. A couple mangrove snapper, a couple vermilions, lots of lanes, and a couple of those gray snapper or white grunts. plus the occasional kingfish. Kingfish are still around. They love that 72 to 78 degree water temperature, but they've hung around longer this year thanks to that.
And they just have a big tourney a couple weeks ago down there.
Old Salt's King of the Beach.
Was it successful?
$130,000 for the first place winners.
Yeah, I remember going over to Skyway on a Sunday a couple years ago, man, and boats were everywhere. Like, they just converge, man. It's like the coolest thing ever.
Yeah, those.
And they're all wrapped. They're like, you know, my little 20-footer would feel like a little guy out there.
get lost in the mix.
The big money shows up for that.
Yeah. And shout out to Captain Steve Pappin and Dave Bias from Dogfish Tackle. The Loggerhead Fishing Team. That's who won the King of the Beach.
Loggerhead beer?
No, they just name themselves that. They've been fishing together forever. Dogfish Tackle is a tackle shop right up here on Park Boulevard.
Cool. Good for them.
Yeah, real cool local place. Todd Boggs, Bearded Todd as we know and love him, with a big amberjack from this 39-hour trip. The 39-hour actually did really well on the amberjack, especially compared to how we've been seeing the amberjack. Couple nice red grouper lately on the 39-hour trips. This was one of the stringers from the last 39-hour trip. But here's the catch from this morning. You can see the amberjack showed up for us. And it's interesting you're on the show tonight because one of the things about amberjack is we've had a tougher, like I would say the last 5 years or so, we've kind of been seeing a slow decline in the number of amberjack we've been catching. But last year, on the backside of Sally, that big storm that kind of moved into that panhandle area, that pushed a lot of those amberjack our way.
Really?
Yeah, so behind that storm, that was, I think, late August, early September. That pushed a lot of those fish our way, and they stayed up on our big wrecks and ledges, and they got way more concentrated. Hurricanes and low pressures really concentrate fish. They're kind of like us.
Yeah.
When a hurricane comes, we all get together.
Want to go out there and chase a storm?
Yeah. Or
I did read that when I did my homework. I was fascinated about catching fish before a storm.
Yep.
And then pretty much after a storm, they say forget about it. They don't like high pressure. Fish like low pressure. And I was reading there's stuff in their bodies, and I don't know everything about it. But they definitely feel the low pressure.
Yeah. So
it's crazy.
Yeah, the lateral line down the side of the fish. So like, if Josh, can you bring up the snook photo again? Because it's easiest to talk about with a snook. But the lateral line down the side of the fish is basically a barometer.
Okay.
So that black line that you're seeing there, that's what basically senses movement underwater. So a lot of times, like for example, if you go spearfishing and you swim down in the water, a lot of times those fish, when you start getting close to them, they'll turn sideways to you. And that's what you want them to do because you want to shoot them with the spear gun. But that they're doing that because they are trying to sense your movement, trying to figure out what you are, because they don't have the best eyesight, and our water's not always super clear. So that lateral line is what how they sense movement and also how they sense pressure changes. So as low pressures approach, they get super excited because they know bad weather's coming. So they feed really heavily before the storms.
Right.
And that's why you hear about those boats getting caught offshore in those hurricanes and those big storms, because they're gambling. They're trying to fish right ahead of the front.
No, it makes sense.
Yeah, the best bite is right ahead of that front. And in the cold front times a year, a lot of times the commercial guys will actually stay anchored up through a storm, sit out there in 10, 12, 14-foot seas because they want to be the first boat out there on the back side of that storm ahead of the next one.
Yeah, no.
And it's really interesting. But yeah,
learn something new every day.
Yeah. Yeah, fish definitely sense those storms. The blackfin tuna also, we've been seeing a lot of those blackfin tuna this trip. We caught a few nice blackfin tuna. Definitely welcome surprises. Look at the belly on this mangrove snapper. He is gluttonous. And we're not even up on that full moon, so it's pretty strange to see him so very fat. Almost looks like a bass. It's got such a big belly on it. Very strange one for sure, but nice mangrove snapper coming up on this trip. We got some nice red grouper. Had a bunch of guys doing the slow pitch jigging on this one. Look at the size of that fishing pole he's got in his hand. It's like a toothpick.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like my daughter's.
Exactly, and they catch some serious fish with those.
What is that? So they feel it better, or just more of a thrill?
So if Josh, can you zoom in again on the jig hanging out of the fish's mouth? So that is a slow pitch jig. So it's kind of a new style of fishing, a new style of fishing in our area. It's been around maybe 5-10 years or so, but it's really just got popular in the last like 4 or 5 years. It's been super popular in Japan. That's where it originated. Really? Deeper waters, and Australia, it's super popular. And basically it's a unique jig with a super unique rod. And the rod is a very bendy, slow action. And the action of the rod makes the jig react differently, and it's oftentimes an asymmetrical jig, which makes it fall in the water and kind of flutter instead of falling more quickly. And that's why they call it slow pitch, is the jig's working more slowly in the water column, and it generally opens itself up to catching more species of fish. So it's a whole new style of fishing.
Wow, slow pitch.
Very, very.
I just came from softball. Slow pitch, fast pitch.
A little different, but very fun to do, but very expensive. Those jigs range for nice ones anywhere from $30 to $60 a piece.
You probably don't want to lose them then, right?
Yeah, and then you got to buy trailer hooks. The reel is probably every bit of $500 to $700. Rods $300-400. So. Couple grand investment just to get started on the slow pitch game, but yeah, nice hogfish from the half-day trips. The other day, Captain Frank caught 7 keeper hogfish and had 12 throwbacks, and for this time of year is very, very good. Like 3 months ago when the water was chillier, I mean, a good trip, a good half-day trip would catch 12, 15, sometimes even 20 keeper hogfish. And then we've been lucky to get 1, 2, 3, maybe 4 lately as that water warms up in the summertime. They just really spread out and get harder to catch. So this past week been definitely good for that hogfish. They like a little bit of adverse condition. That water gets stirred up a little bit. They get a little bit more comfortable. And like I said, the kingfish are still around. Every time I think that it's warming up, the kingfish are going to leave, we get another late season front. And I'm like, man, it stinks. The weather's getting bad again. And then on the back of my head, I'm like, well, maybe the kingfish will hang around. And basically this time of year, spring and fall, when we're transitioning between cool weather to warm weather in the spring, and in the fall from warm weather to cool weather, you get those overlaps of these fish that predominantly like warm weather or cool weather. Nice. And this late season fronts that we keep having, the mild fronts that don't keep it too cold but don't really warm it up too much, have lengthened that transitional period, and it's just got the fish real excited.
The water temps, even though they're warm on the beach, they get cool pretty quick the farther you go out still.
Yes.
So like you said, you're saying you get like the best of both worlds, probably just in a few different miles. I mean, because the Clearwater is 80, 85, and 10 miles off might be 70, 75, right? So.
And that's a lot of times what you're talking about is the surface temp maps that you have on your site, right? So there's every 33 feet of water is different pressures, as you know a lot about atmospheric pressure. So every 33 feet is a whole nother atmosphere of pressure. So beyond 90 foot, you've got 3 atmospheres in the water, and then you got the 1 atmosphere we're on. So basically, as you get deeper, those bottom layers of water are insulated. So the surface temperatures might get cooler as you get further offshore more quickly, but those bottom temperatures will stay more regular longer. So as that surface temperature, if it heats up really fast, then the bottom temp will slowly heat up.
Well, it's ocean heat content is another side of it. I mean, that's the water temperature below the surface. And that's a big part of hurricanes now is don't look at sea surface temperature. You look at the ocean heat content, which is how deep the hot water goes. And that is probably what that's the fuel basically for storms, but it's basically what you're saying. It's how far down the warmer waters go, not necessarily that top layer of the sea surface.
I've heard you talk about that on your videos, and I've always wondered what you mean. So after this show, you're going to have to show me where to find that.
Oh, yeah, that's huge. No, because the common misperception is, oh, my God, the water's hot, but it still might be cool below the surface. So even though it might be 90 degrees at Clearwater Beach right now, the depth, water, because hurricanes upwelling, that's the fuel for storms. And when they start upwelling cooler water instantly, then it'll choke a hurricane. So, I mean, we can talk about that later, but there's loop eddies out in the Gulf, and Harvey sat over top of a warm loop eddy, and it's a break off of the Gulf Stream that actually circulates warm water, and there's ocean.
Also holds marlin and wahoo.
But we can talk about that. That's fascinating to me. Is the water? We have rivers of ocean currents in the Gulf.
Yeah. Yep.
It all starts with the Gulf Stream, and they break off and they spin through the Gulf. And when you get a storm over top, it just pulls this warm water up. It's
cool.
And fishermen told me they use the loop eddies as places to go. The real deep sea guys look for that.
Tournament, like marlin fishermen and a lot of pelagic fishermen, because those pelagic fish are fish, not bottom fish, like grouper, snapper, amberjack. They're more their sight fidelity is high. They stay in an area and they're primarily bottom oriented and structure oriented fish, whereas pelagic fish like marlin, sailfish, wahoo, tuna, kingfish, mahi, they move constantly.
So they fall apart in the currents.
And they follow more of those the heat lines where you've got like a 73 degree temperature current here, but then a quarter mile away it's 78 degrees.
So look at these maps probably.
Yeah.
I mean, it's huge.
Well, a lot of those tournament guys will pay for things like rip charts or Ross charts or these different services where you can look at the maps, print out a chart, and overlay it with your plotter.
I believe it now. I 100%. New business.
Interesting. Yeah, that's we can.
Instead of spaghetti models, we'll call it fishgills.com.
Ocean heat content, inside information. So where do we go? Back to Pip. Yeah. Oh, yes.
Free.
Yes. Yeah, we give away over $700.
I read it.
Yeah, over $700 in free fishing trips you can get for just watching the show tonight. So how to enter to win those free trips is all you have to do is comment. So comment one time on the Hubbard's Marina Facebook stream. So you can be watching on YouTube, you can be watching on the Mike's Weather page, but you do have to navigate over to Hubbard's Marina's live video and comment one time. And then you can go back to Mike's page, go back to YouTube, whatever you want. You can watch it anywhere. But in order to be eligible to win, you have to comment one time on that Hubbard's Marina page because it's shared all over Facebook, but the live name generator can only pull from one stream.
I like it.
So make sure you comment one time to be entered to win and then continue watching it wherever you prefer. And then once we pick those live winners, you do have to claim the free trip within about 5 minutes to prove that you were watching live.
5 minutes?
Yeah, you got to
What if I got to go take a crap?
Be careful. Time it right. Bring your phone in there.
They said it was PG-13. I guess I could say that.
Yeah. During the live show, it's somewhat family friendly, but it after show anything goes. The supporters after show.
I want to throw Dylan off here.
We're down a rabbit trail on weather already, and I like it. Josh, can you click back on the photo for me? Oh, there we go. So, yeah, red grouper, deep water red grouper. You can see behind him, that is a typical summertime weather pattern.
Amazing, the Gulf, right? It's
yeah.
like ice, isn't it?
Oh, yeah, glass. And it is brutally hot come June, July, August, and into September. But right now, it's beautiful.
Yeah.
Beautiful. We're getting the best of both worlds, as I mentioned earlier, that transitional period. One of my favorite times of year to get out there. Some more of those big amberjack from that 39-hour trip, some more fat mangroves. We had a real good 39-hour trip that came in this morning. Some throwback gags. We're excited for that gag grouper season to come up soon. Definitely excited about June, right around the corner. That red snapper season's opening up. And we've got the gag grouper season opening up. So lots of good stuff to come. And hurricane season.
Oh, no, it's right here. Yeah. Now, today,
yeah,
yesterday.
We're both excited. So you were talking about some unofficial start to hurricane season?
Well, yeah. The so they started doing advisories yesterday. The NHC, the typical 2-day, 5-day advisories are now live. You get them 4 times a day from the NHC. They want to move the season up apparently, but they have to get voted on by the World Meteorological Organization, WMO. I just say WMO.
There's a thing? That's a thing?
Oh, yeah. So they're planning on voting on it. So I would say with good confidence that by next season we'll have a May 15th start of the hurricane season.
And it's typically June 1st.
June 1st. So they unofficially started doing their daily advisories yesterday. But they can't officially say it until they get voted on by the world. So back to the maps. I mean, every day, the NHC map is the one with the colored circles, the yellow, the oranges, the reds, and you look at them at 2 o'clock, 8 o'clock every day until November 30th.
Starting to get flashbacks already.
So yeah, we're in the season, but it's typically slow this time of year. I mean, we get a pop-up tropical storm, subtropical, nothing major, knock on wood. You know, they need ocean heat content. There's a lot of shear in the atmosphere. And if we're going to talk weather, a couple of days ago, the GFS was spawning a storm up into Louisiana, and it was all over the internet. But the people fail to say that the other models weren't showing it. But there's already that hype is what I'm getting at.
I got you.
And
Early season hype.
Yeah, and since it's not showing it anymore.
Yeah.
But we got a big high pressure off the east coast of Florida, which I was going to ask you about. But this whole week, man, we're in a dry spell. There's no rain. We got high pressure off the east coast. It's crazy. It's spinning up all the moisture up into Texas and Louisiana for the next week. So we get a lot of winds down in the Key West area. So we have fishermen that message me a lot, but it's really windy down that way. Yeah. Because this high pressure spins up.
Yeah.
But it also creates wind shear, meaning that system's not going to happen.
Yeah, and it's going to basically, that high pressure is almost like a shield for our area.
Oh, it's a shield, and it creates a lot of wind shear, basically. And but it also brings in the heat. Next week, we're looking at 90s, mid-90s again. So it will be
clear blue skies, too.
Oh, yeah, all week. Yep. Beautiful
Bluebird
week.
skies. Not a good sign for fishing, unfortunately.
Yeah, well, you know, what I did read, 72 hours after the atmosphere stabilizes, it's good.
But it hasn't been stable. That's the problem.
True.
And that static barometer in general, in my opinion, isn't good for fishing.
Okay.
A static high isn't as bad as a static low, but definitely.
So high is not good.
Yeah, but it's not bad, but it's not great. Moving barometer is the best, and falling is the premium.
Don't you worry about losing boat rides? It's like if people might start tracking their, oh man, there's a high pressure coming, I'm gonna cancel my trip.
Yeah, I mean, we try to be as upfront as we can.
You're always gonna catch a fish. Yeah, I mean, you're gonna catch fish.
And my thing people always ask is like, when's the best time to go fishing? And the best time to go fishing is when you have time. Yeah. It
ain't about what you fish, man.
Yeah, it's and that's the difference in a lot of fishermen. The evolution of the fisherman is some people just want to get out there on the water and enjoy the time. Yeah. There's the fisherman that can sit on a bridge all day and drink a couple beers and not catch anything, and it's the best day of his life. And then there's the fisherman that goes on that same bridge and he wants to fill the cooler sitting next to him, or it's a terrible day.
Yeah, you might need to find new.
And then there's happy mediums.
Yeah. Well, that's good.
I like the happy mediums. Yeah. But it is time to give away our first free trip of the night, guys. So we're going to give away a 5-hour half day for 2 guests. That is a $130 value, absolutely free.
That's what we do.
Yeah, all we do is sit back and watch Josh do the work.
Oh wow! I just saw my moderator, Shelly.
Oh yeah, Shelly's on.
What's up, Shelly?
Hey Shelly, I'll be annoying you soon.
Yep.
I have my alarm still set for 9:17.
I know we're getting ready. We're going to be 5 days this week. I think we're going to be starting. We're
getting back to
tracking tropics.
Anthony Smith, our resident male expert. Mailman from Central Florida, who fishes with us quite a bit. Been a long-time viewer of the show. Shout out to Anthony, man. And also, I saw Dan Netto. Happy birthday, buddy. Hopefully you're doing well, gearing up. He is a COVID nurse in Gainesville, so he drives between here and North Florida to serve at the front lines of the COVID
Hey, man,
deal.
God bless you. I had that crap.
It's no fun. We both did.
Yeah, I was lucky. My wife was not so lucky.
Yeah. Same here.
Yeah, she was all rough.
I had it back in like late December. My wife.
Christmas time. Yeah. Remember you messaged because you were coming to our meet and greet at Big Storm.
Yeah, and I missed it. Yeah, and then my wife had it, and my son got. Well, my son originally got it, then my wife had it. So
we all had it.
It was scary, but luckily it was smooth.
Hey, somebody's asked me when the first hurricane. Well.
Hey,
what's up, Phil? Well, it's going to be before December.
Good answer.
I'm going to be right on that one. Usually hurricanes usually don't pop up early. Atmosphere is too unstable. So
why would you say something like that? Well, he says usually doesn't pop up early.
I never say
next week.
Never say never.
Never say never.
That's good.
Oh man. I'm kind of worried right now. I've got my toes crossed under the table right now. I feel like we're summoning.
We got stories to tell. We'll do that the last 30 minutes. We had some fun times.
Oh, on the last storm?
Yeah.
I don't know. That was a surreal night for me. But yeah, we'll get
I can tell you when I met Dylan, he was about ready to go home.
Yep.
And he's like, it's going to be nothing. I'm like, I don't know, buddy. I don't know you very well, but I got a bad feeling about this. Really? He looks at me and he goes, really? And I'm like, then I started feeling like insecure. I'm like, well, maybe I shouldn't have said that, because now I'm like doubting my thought process, And I'm like, oh, well, yeah. And it turned out to be pretty significant.
Pretty gnarly.
Oh, it was very significant. We got record surge here, and a lot of
well, at
stories.
the time, it looked bad, and it was looking bad, and we went into like full prep mode. We over-prepared, and we're talking about Hurricane Ada, and we were fully prepped, like preparing for a Cat 3, Cat 4 close proximity.
Oh, yeah, well,
just to be safe.
Direct hit, yeah.
Yeah, and then all of a sudden, it like the models 7 to 10 days out looked ugly, and then all of a sudden it started trending lower, less likely. It kind of started breaking up a little bit, and it was pretty broken up. But then, like 48 hours out, it started showing signs of ugly stuff, and I think that's kind of when we ran across each other. We were like 24 hours out.
Yeah, it was midday, and it was the surge more than anything, because it was 3:00 at John's Pass. Mm-hmm. It was supposed to be low tide, and it was like already up over the rocks. I'm like, this is low tide. This isn't good.
Yeah.
And it hit right at the exact. We were trapped for an hour or two. We couldn't get out.
Yeah.
And then I just did a hurricane expo down in Madeira Beach.
Yeah.
And met the Largo
the
Madeira Beach fire chief, and he told me, all the water rescues they did dozens of water rescues. I mean, it was bad. I mean, people waking up to water in their homes, and
it was an ugly night.
Yeah.
I remember when I left you that night during Hurricane Ada. I left a little before you did, because my wife called, and our back fence was down, and she was at home with the baby while I was at the Marina hanging out with you. So I was like, I should get home. And when I was going home down Gulf Boulevard, that big truck, man, water was above the wheels. Oof. Yeah, and I was like, this is salt water. I am ruining my truck right now. But I had to get home, and I passed a military-style H1 Humvee that was broke down in the water.
People think I'm exaggerating, but when you and I just saw Dale Kindberg on there. He's a buddy of ours that was there. But we saw Pinellas County sheriffs with inflatables going door to door and doing water rescues. I mean, waking people, older people in their 70s, walking, water to their waist, leaving their homes, and this happened all the way up at Safety Harbor and Oldsmar. So, I'm very passionate about Pinellas County because we live here, and it was a huge wake up call on a storm that pretty much was blown off like it'll be nothing to like the highest surge in Tampa Bay ever, and it was 60 miles offshore. Yeah, and it was only a tropical storm, and we had record surge. So, take storms serious.
Right.
I mean,
you're right. It was only a tropical, a tropical storm.
We got video walking up and down the whole boardwalk, and every
John's Pass was underwater.
Yeah, every business was underwater.
Yeah, all of John's Pass was underwater. That was epic.
Incredible.
And they were partying at Delosis. Yeah. Remember that?
Yeah, we missed that.
All right, let's get back into the questions here. I know wanted to thank David Munoz and his son for the Jack Daniels they gifted to our, like that bar cart.
Well, I'm the only one drinking here. He's like, well, we got whiskey. Too. I'm like, I don't know, man. It's pretty good.
We got some shine over here.
Oh, my God.
And David Sorrells with that real moonshine, serious real moonshine. We'll get into that for the after show.
Oh, my God.
And then Craig Hammock with the Elijah Craig. Appreciate those gifts, y'all. Thank you very much. But weather for this week. I know a few people had mentioned it in the comments. We did want to kind of talk about the weather for this week. Mike already kind of hinted at it with that high pressure, and that's basically what we're looking at this week. Sunny, blue skies, higher east winds.
East winds,
yeah. So for us, fishing-wise, I see high pressure. I think east wind, bluebird skies, and sometimes a little bit of a tougher bite. But Josh, can we bring up our weather page, show everybody how to navigate there? And on our website, hubbardsmarina.com, you can click fishing trips and then scroll down to weather links. So this is nothing close to Mike's website, but it is geared towards just strictly marine forecast. So Windfinder is what we use a lot. The NOAA forecast, to me, just kind of shows the trend. Yep. I use the NOAA discussion to kind of show the trend, whereas the Windfinder gives us more of a specific forecast.
Yeah, windy.com is amazing.
Windy is good too.
There's a new marine one I have to share you that NOAA's just released a more interactive map, and there's a marine button that's phenomenal for you because it'll click on zones. It's like an interactive 3D Google-based. I think they just debuted it like a week ago. So.
Yeah, definitely send it that way.
I wish I knew.
We'll throw it on there.
I wish he'd probably never find it on my site, but I know where it's at. But we'll wait. We'll let you share it.
We're gonna get into that. We got you a special wireless keyboard and mouse to put you on the spot to navigate your website.
Well, how much whiskey did I have? 'Cause
I'm more worried about your
live.
Mountain
I'm
Dew
live
intake.
right now?
Yeah,
Okay,
you've got
If I
control.
had to squint, where did I put it at? Okay, it's right down here.
Can you do full screen, Josh? So you can
There.
see?
No, it's no. Where did I put it at?
Yeah, he has control of that. You should be able to do it from there.
Yeah, I can't even remember where the hell it's at.
Oh, I can't. No,
Yeah, well, you keep talking. I'll keep looking here.
No, I just go full screen that way.
1 moment. Let me grab the mouse.
Oh, you got the mouse.
Ooh, we've got mice in action. There you go. Now you've got full page so you guys can see where he's clicking.
All right. So, anyway.
This is Mike's page. So if you go to our website, like I was saying, if you're one of our guests who don't necessarily know how to get onto Mike's page, you can either Google spaghettimodels.com.
Oh, there it is. Look at that, man. That didn't take long. So it's called Now Coast.
Now Coast.
So I need glasses, man. I'm back to squinting again.
Well, hit Control and zoom in on the
No,
mouse.
see up here, is there like a marine button? Is that marine? I can't even tell right there. Is that marine? Does that say
Josh,
marine, really?
Zoom in a little bit for us.
What's that say right there? Yeah, Now Cast for Mariners.
Nowcast.
Now look, now you zoom in, and I don't even know these links, man.
Whoa.
But there's all kinds of crap. I almost said the S word, but there's all kinds of crap.
Oh my gosh.
So I don't even know what it is, but look how interactive it is.
That is awesome.
But if you go back to just the general weather, it's even cooler because you can go on. Once you get close to your area, you can actually get like live, like
radar.
Oh yeah, but you can get live alerts. Like you'll get your local text of what's happening for your area.
All right,
so.
we're ending the show now. We're gonna play with this.
But anyway, but the marine button I thought of you the other day. See now, whatever they call it, NOAA Cast for Mariners. It might be cool or not, but it's look at that. It's just sexy looking at it.
It is.
So,
no, it's an interactive marine chart.
Yeah,
That's really cool.
So I'm
Josh,
sure.
what?
And then on the side, see you got coastal waters, offshore waters, high seas, Canadian waters. So they
That's
got
awesome.
a plethora.
Plethora.
I don't know if that's a word or not.
It's definitely a word. Can you copy and paste that link into the chat form, Josh? And we're gonna bookmark that one for the website. We're gonna have to give you a section of our weather page, man, so you can send some good marine stuff our way. That's pretty cool.
Emily wants contacts, so we're gonna have a daddy date at the eye place. I have a feeling she needs glasses, and so does Dad. I'm getting bad.
So, like I was saying, when he was navigating originally, is on our website. That's how you navigate to Mike's page. He's that ultimate storm forecast at the bottom of our weather links page. We put you at the bottom only because most of the time when I'm going to your page, it's not good news. It's not good news for our fishing trips, but it is definitely cool. And that video is a lot of what we're talking about tonight. That is a very high-level overview of a lot of what we talked about.
Yeah, you got great videos. I've watched them.
Fake it till you make it, as you said earlier. And that's a lot about what we talked about earlier with the trends, with the fishing before a low pressure. And what inspired that video was during those cold front times a year is people would just flock our way once a cold front passed. Because, like a day and a half, 2 days behind a cold front, it's nice outside. That high pressure settled in. It looks beautiful on shore. It's still rough as heck offshore. And by the time you get offshore, the water's chocolate milk because it's been blowing 20, 25, 30, and it's been 6 to 8 foot seas. That water's all stirred up, and the fishing sucks.
They know it. Yeah, the fish know it.
Yeah, and the fish are still, when it gets real stirred up like that, the bottom gets stirred up. And it gets so sandy and silty on the bottom, the fish literally get sand in their gills. And they just sit there underneath the rocks and they hunker down.
Really?
So like when one of those big storms come in, they get real excited, they feed really well, that barometer dumps, gets static low, weather gets bad, those fish just hunker down in their holes and get sanded in, silted in, and then the weather finally passes. once it calms down, the water's also got to clear up. The barometer's got to stabilize. Everything's got to kind of go back to homeostasis. And then once it's all stabilizes, that's when they come out of their holes, shake out that sand, and start feeding again. So definitely.
Well, I noticed we got a little lake in our backyard, and I noticed right before a storm, the bass start popping. Fresh water.
Really?
But and then that's because pressure probably dropped just enough that they probably know. And I always watch them start hitting the water right before it rains, and I'm wondering if they, they just feel that little bit of storm coming.
Yeah, and like even an afternoon thunderstorm, you feel that wind shift and that temperature change just a hair. It gets the inshore fishing excited too. And I know when I was younger, when I was fishing 8, 9, 10 years old in a little skiff in the back bay, when one of those big afternoon thunder boomers were coming, I always used to try to jump in my boat before my mom realized it was coming, because you get out there, set up on the flats, and that storm starts to come. As soon as that wind shifts, that temperature drops, before it starts totally downpouring, it's almost instant. Almost insta-bite. They like know it's coming, and they just get fired up. It's really, really interesting. But this coast from Noah, this is really cool. So that was right on his page, but we'll definitely share that link in the chat.
Yeah, we got all kinds of links.
Yeah, that's cool.
Oh, we got a winner.
Yeah, that was from the 5-hour trip.
Oh,
Anthony.
Oh, you already announced it.
Yeah. So let's see what's next here. So weather for this week, like Mike said, it's just that high pressure sitting on us, and it's weird, man. It seems like it's. You can maybe explain this one to me, Josh. Can you bring up the Wind Finder 5 and 10 hour trip forecast area? And I want to show that chart.
I felt it last night. We had a strong east wind. We were at the softball fields in Clearwater, and it was strong.
But this is what I'm talking about. This is what I question, because on your website, what I spend the most time looking at as a fisherman, a nearshore and offshore fisherman, are those prog charts, the NOAA prog charts, showing the trend of where those lines are, where the prefrontal activity is. And as those charts come down, we talked about it, I think, last week or the week before on the show. We showed your website and walked through the prog charts and tried to explain it. But what I don't get is this week we have that high pressure basically sitting on top of us. Why is the wind lobing in such very predictable patterns? Josh, you can also go to the buoys, because you can see on the graphs the wind comes up, goes down.
Well, afternoon it looks like it's...
Look at the Egmont Key, that Egmont Key buoy forecast. Buoy at Egmont Key, Josh, third one down.
What I noticed about this high pressure, it's farther more to park to the north, more Carolinas. Typically, it's a little bit more to the south. So, I'm wondering if we're getting more, a battle with our
like
sea breeze.
Pressure ridge type
you get the sea breeze effects, So, like last week, the whole storyline was storms middle of the state, building. So last week, the high pressure was to our south a little bit. So the high pressure was spinning up around into the peninsula. So we get these afternoon storms building in the middle of the state, and they all get pushed eastward because of that flow. And then toward the end of the week, we had a front coming down, and we started getting the high pressure got broken up a little bit. So the storms were building a little bit closer to I-75. So I'm wondering, what you're talking about here is our high pressure is farther to the north, so our wind flow is a little bit more erratic. It's coming, it's coming up more, more from the south, meaning that it's clashing with the sea breeze, and it's just a battle midday. Midday.
And that's what we're seeing here.
It looks like when I saw 2 p.m., it looked like it was more from the south, and it wasn't that direct east winds.
And that's what we're seeing here. This is the buoy forecasted wave heights at the Egmont Key. The red line is the forecast, the blue line is what it's actually doing, and it matches the wind patterns almost perfectly in the fact that the wind is almost every night around 9, 10, 11 o'clock, it starts picking up. And then it stays high until about 9, 10, 11 o'clock in the daytime, and then it slowly calms down for the afternoon for 8, 9 hours, and then it picks right back up after the sunset.
It's just a clash. It's just we're building up to that rainy season where we get the sea breeze clashes. It's just a battle of the temperatures. Everything's warming up, cooling down, and you can see it right there. The 2 o'clock, it's coming in all different directions every day. But it's strong overnight, east winds. Morning, see the overnight morning hours, strong east winds. This is midday. It's just we're just the heating of the day.
The heat of the day is.
I think the heating of the day is offset. The heating of the day is winning, but not enough to spawn storms right now because the high pressure is bringing in dry air. Once we start getting moisture content, then we get the afternoon thunderstorm. That's why typically rain season starts any day now.
That's so interesting to me. All right, so if it was hot and that high pressure was further away, we would have enough humidity in the air.
Moisture.
That heat would cause that condensation.
It would help.
With the middle of the state, and we'd start getting those afternoon thunderstorms.
Right. We had them all last week. Like middle of the state, we had some really bad ones last week. Cape Canaveral, Titusville, all the way down to Palm Beach, because we had middle of the state. It was a little more, and its precipitable water is a good map, and the amount of moisture in the air. And with this high, this weekend, we got a huge high dome building over top of us, and that's just
Josh,
dry.
write down precipitable.
That's a hard word.
Precipitable water.
I can find it real quick. You bring it back up. I love it.
After the show, because I want to grab these links that you're talking about and put them on there too.
Precipitable water is big because of the amount of moisture in the air.
Say the word again.
Precipitable.
Precipitable.
What's cool though, we're back to the GFS showing a storm in the Gulf last week. Let's talk a little about weather because I got a little,
we haven't been talking about weather?
Tropics. So everybody shared the GFS main operational run last week. Okay, and it showed a tropical storm coming up possibly in the Panhandle.
So GFS is
It's the American model that predicts storms. And
one of the weather models.
Well, yeah, there's only a few really good ones I follow. The Euro, you hear about the top dogs on TV talk about the Euro and the GFS. Last season, believe it or not, there was some other models that I grabbed a hold of early in the season that turned out to be really good. A German model called the Icon. The Canadian model is the GEM, CMC used to be called. So I take a blend of all models, and it's no rocket science.
The Euro model, it's referred to as a Euro model, but it's something else on your website.
Yeah, ECWF,
I think.
It's 5 letters. I get people email me. It's not the Euro model, but
that confused me a lot at first when I started watching, because when I watched your lives, I was trying to pick apart what you were doing on the site, and I'm like, Euro, it doesn't say that anywhere.
Yeah.
The GFS is easy because it's called the GFS. Yeah, it's referred to as it, and that's what it says on the site too.
It's just from Europe, basically. So storm trackers. This is so huge to me. There was a lot of hype last week about this GFS show. Oh, we're gonna do a refill.
Oh yeah.
A lot of hype last week about this one GFS model going up in Louisiana. So what I do, I talk a lot on my site about ensembles, and ensembles are huge. So when you got the GFS model, there's 31 versions of the GFS model.
That's it.
There's 31 ensembles. So 31 different brains. It makes sense, right? So there's 31 brains of the GFS that say, okay, let's say the high pressure is a little bit higher. What's it going to do? Let's say the water temp's a little bit higher. What's it going to do? Let's say this low, this Midwestern high comes quicker, comes slower, So it puts all these different scenarios. So you get 31 different runs sometimes. And then the GFS spits out an operational run. And what it should have done last week was that operational run should be a blend of those 31, the average of the 31. Well, last week only like one of the 31 showed anything in the Gulf. Only one. The Euro, nothing. None of the Euro ensembles, nothing. None of the other models I follow, nothing. So I was kind of trying to be a Debbie Downer online and say, I don't think it's going to be happen. But people love to see that what if. But I spelled it out last week. Like, usually when you see all the ensembles pointing, then that's when I get hype on the internet.
Yeah.
I mean, I firmly believe I've learned a lot about weather. And looking at what's going on now with this high pressure system, you can see the moisture flow back to that precipitable water map. You can see the Euro and everybody's showing that moisture flow. High pressure spins clockwise. And it's fascinating because the high pressure brings in hot air, but it also fuels the moisture from the Caribbean. So all this moisture counterclockwise coming up through Louisiana, Texas, straight up middle of the U.S. In the next 3 days, they got some serious storms coming. It's clashing with the incoming dip in the jet from the west, but all this moisture funnels up to the northern U.S. So the GFS was assuming that was going to spin up. And so the moisture's there. The GFS was halfway right. It's just we don't have a storm. It's all about the highs and the lows. It's fascinating. But,
so what you were talking about to bring it down to at least this fisherman's level is basically the 4 or 5 different main weather models. The main ones being the Euro, then the GFS, and inside those weather models are the ensembles. And so I've tried to dig into that a little bit in your site, and basically the ensembles are what makes up the model. It's all the different model runs. It's kind of like a stock assessment for the fisheries. The stock assessment is the machine, and then in that machine they throw a bunch of theories at it, and then they take kind of an average of what that machine spits out after you've dumped a bunch of data into it. And so the ensembles are kind of more of that raw data inputs, and you can kind of get the trend from the trend.
Trend is your friend, and you know, models always flip flop. You know, you'll get a movement like Irma was going to go off the East Coast.
She
Florida.
wobbled a lot.
Then it was going to Tampa. Then it was going to Miami. Then it was going to, you know, so you get this wiper effect. But you look at everything, and when you start to see a lot of trends, and it's all about the highs and lows, high pressure
steering, upper level steerage.
Hurricane Sandy, the most prime example of high pressure. Hurricane Sandy was going up the East Coast, and it was a race between high pressure, and some of the models had it going out to sea, the GFS, because it was going to beat the high pressure. The Euro had it hit this high pressure and have nowhere to go, and it ended up curving. So it's a timing, and you look at things like that. You can look into the future and say, you know, like back to next week, this high pressure dome that we're going to have. It is a huge high pressure next weekend. That you're going to feel it next weekend. It might not be 100 degrees, but it's going to feel hot.
I'm excited.
It's going to be
excited.
It's going to be that. Oh
bring
my
on
God.
the heat, baby.
Hot.
Bring on the heat and bring on the red snapper and gag grouper.
So hurricane season's here. You know, everybody talks about preparing. You know, have a plan. I mean, you could be rebels. Like half the people are rebels and don't have plans, and the other half wants to be ready. You know.
Yeah.
And last week was the NHC preparedness week, and I've been sharing all kinds of graphics. So if you just go back on the site, you'll see them. But the NHC spells out a lot, and I got a lot of links about being ready and have a plan and evacuations and know your zone, and that kind of stuff's important. You know, just have a plan and know where you're going to go. And
my plan is go to the liquor store after tying up all the boats.
Yeah, but
hit up ABC.
Have we drank any hurricane? I should have brought some Hurricane Hunter beer.
I almost asked you before. And then hit ABC on the way home, get a bunch of booze, and then sit by the phone most of the time, watching Mike. I think on the last storm, I took some photos of me and my son huddled around my cell phone with the power out, watching your live streams.
Oh, it was fun, man. But you know, back to our truck. So I got rust on my truck.
Dude, my truck is so screwed up.
I got dripping on my sideboard.
My CV joint's ruined. I got to do all 4 brakes.
Oh, yeah, it wasn't that bad.
Yeah, I went through almost 5 foot of salt water for 4 miles. Yeah, it was crazy, man.
We were nuts, but it was crazy.
It was worth it though. It was fun.
Somebody stole my magnet from your place. I'm trying to find out who that was.
I feel like that magnet didn't get stolen.
We looked everywhere. Oh, you got it?
No.
Oh, is it hanging on the wall over here? I got it.
It's behind the green screen. No. Yeah.
Hey, somebody just said the beer's good. Justin, appreciate it, man.
The Hurricane Hunter beer.
Yeah, it's good.
That's his own personal beer brand.
Yeah.
So I aspire to be like
Mark
Mike.
Wants to know. That's a good question, Mark Stewart. The dump from Gibsonton there in Ruskin or whatever. Have they ever followed up on the sewage?
The Piney Point?
Yeah.
So Piney Point was one of the greatest examples of tone it down, Dylan. Rein it in. It's a great example of what happens when it's not a private business. If that was owned and operated by a private business, you would see someone in court right now. They would be all over the news. They would be getting crucified for destroying the environment by the DEP, by the EPA. They'd be getting fines. It would be on and popping. But it was the DEP. It was the EPA whose fault it was. They had control over that property. And, people were evacuated from their homes over that instant. And
hundreds.
And it literally, like, overnight, it went away from news cycles. And
that's what I'm wondering. It just
very, very weird for me. And, I mean, they essentially poured lighter fluid on a embering fire. You camp a lot. At night, you bury your fire. You're a little drunk. You stumble into the tent. The next morning, you wake up. You can literally push the beach sand off your fire and throw a couple sticks on it, you got another open flame. And to me, that's what hot weather, summertime Tampa Bay, shallow Tampa Bay, that's extremely warm, it's an embering fire. It's waiting for a spark. It's a big old powder keg of harmful algal bloom waiting to happen. And they poured a bunch of very nitrate-rich, phosphate-enriched, essentially very lightly hazardous material into that ember pit, that powder keg, and now it's just a waiting game. And red tide Canera Bravis, I don't know how to pronounce it. I'm not even going to try. You guys know I'm terrible at pronouncing names if you watched the show before, but it's a naturally occurring organism in the Gulf of Mexico. It's been here since the 1400s. The Spanish explorers have it documented in their journals when they first discovered the Gulf of Mexico.
It's bad right now down at definitely Cape Coral, Fort Myers, because I got friends on Wink News. Yeah, I guess it's already there. It's naturally there.
It's been there. It's been there for a while.
Well, I guess people are worried what's going to happen.
So my big concern is west winds. Predominantly this time of year in May, we have a lot of west winds. And so you get a lot of strong west winds coupled with those spring outgoing tides, some hard full moon outflows, which all the tarpon fishermen want. That big crab flush that pushes all those crabs out, that gets those tarpon feeding. Everybody looks forward to those this time of year, but a couple of those big tides coupled with a really strong west wind pushing that red tide organism that naturally occurs in the Gulf of Mexico inshore with a lot of outgoing tide from Tampa Bay, those things are going to collide and could possibly explode or ignite.
So we won't know. I mean, my only thing is there's not a lot of flow up there. So because I boat and it's just kind of stagnant, like Upper Tampa Bay.
Very stagnant.
In the heat of the summer, like around Whiskey Joe's up there around 60, it's like,
I
wouldn't even swim. No, I know though. It's like
a bathtub.
I want to take a hose and just like put a hose in there and bring some cooler water in there, flush it out.
Very shallow, very warm.
It's like when somebody asked me about climate change. It's probably like somebody asking you about that. I don't want to talk about it because I don't really know.
It's a wait and see. I mean, ultimately, nothing could happen.
Look at all these stars you're getting, man.
Oh, thank you, Lisa Ann. Appreciate you, Scott. I'm bad about it. In the beginning of the show, I'm good about it. And then
I get a lot, man. I told Shelly, I can't believe it, man.
Yeah, it's super appreciated. That's what fuels this whole thing. That enables us to do things like this.
I feel bad because I get a couple of newspapers that wanted to come. Well, they did come and do articles on my weather, and they come to my house and they look disappointed. I mean, you got a freaking full studio here, and I'm like, oh my god, I got 1 million followers, and I'm sitting on a desk from Walmart.
These are plastic folding tables.
I know, but I'm working on Acer Acer monitors, and Amazon mouses.
Companies watching this.
No, that's pretty.
They don't
cool.
need to know what we did to this.
No, it's cool. Hey, we got something from St. Cloud, Kissimmee. Look at that.
We've got 125,000 followers, and we got a whole studio. Josh, we spent too much money.
Yeah.
I don't think we spent enough.
That's fun, man.
Yeah, it is fun. It's addicting. It's fun. And
what's up, Shelly?
That's what we do. We talk to people for a living. So doing the show is natural.
No, it's good. I just love reading the comments, man.
Yeah. Can you zoom in on the comments a little bit for Mike?
No, you just got a lot of people. You got a lot of people coming, man, that are excited about fishing.
Oh, huge. Shelly Ross is the Josh of the Mike's Weather page. Yeah, she's the lady behind the action.
She's gonna blush now, but she was supporting the page before I even knew who she was. And one day I'm like, "Who are you?" I'm like, "You're doing all this nice stuff for me, Yeah. And I'm like, at least I can make you a bigger part. And so I can go out and have a good time with the family, and I know she's got my back.
Yeah.
I mean, it's we have 1 million followers, and I can count on one hand the amount of bad eggs that we got. You know, so
she is the watchdog of the group.
I get in trouble sometimes because I'll post stuff after 10
p.m.
And
my wife takes my phone from me. She's smart.
My wife's trying to figure out like a parental lock, like where I don't have access to my phone anymore, But that makes it fun, man, Hey, look at that. Who's that? Hey, Chris. Yeah, let's talk weather, man. You got any weather questions?
Away a 10-hour trip.
Oh, we're yeah.
Oh yeah, you do people call? I want to talk to people, man.
Yeah. You
got a
can
phone
call
number?
in. The phone number's on the bottom corner there. You can text in live or call the phone number at the bottom right-hand corner. But if you're going to call, use the extension. If you're going to text, you don't need the extension. You see the extension there. But time got away from me tonight, man. We've been talking weather. And I saw someone earlier talk about how some about how weathermen can get lost talking about weather. But for me, fishing, I hugely nerd out watching your lives and dive deep. I spend a lot of time on your website, man, and that's not just blowing any smoke, man. That's we live and die by the trends and the weather models.
I've learned so much from you, man.
And the ocean heat content and the precipitable weather maps that I didn't know anything about, but now I'm going to learn a lot from.
Precipitable water.
Yeah, see, I'm learning as I go, but it's hugely ties into fishing.
The one thing that I'm not 100%, but I think I'm onto something, and you were too, but that midday random winds, it's obviously a clash going on because the winds were strong at night and in the morning. And you know, one phenomenon I always had was going across a Bayside Bridge, and there'd be these times where it's just like glass, you know, and it's like, obviously the atmosphere is just done, like just in a middle mode, you know. And it's,
we call it the summertime doldrums, and it happens a lot in that warmer time of the year,
like an equalization, like it's
like from 10 a.m. till 2-3 p.m. when wind stops, wave stops, it's glassy, there's not a breath of air. Man. It's brutally hot offshore because of the refraction of light off the surface. It's just like you're sitting almost in an oven. It's gorgeous. Stagnant. It's gorgeous, but it's stagnant, and the bite gets slow. Just like you and I are incredibly hot without that summertime breeze, that midday period, the fish just stop. And that's when you got to lighten up tackle and really try some unique things to get them chewing. So with that, let's give away a 10-hour all day for 2 guests. That is a $218 value, absolutely free for watching live. That goes to Cheyenne Evans with Hello. Hey, Cheyenne, thanks for watching.
Cool. She's from Texas. She's a cowgirl.
How do you know?
Cheyenne.
Oh, you know it? Oh, you're
guessing.
guessing.
I'm just guessing. Yeah. I don't know. It's a cool name.
It is a cool name. I like it. And make sure if you were picked as the lucky winner, you got to text that phone number in front of Mike, your full home address, within about 5 minutes to claim that free trip and prove you were watching live. So let's get into a few questions here before we get out of time. And again, while we're pulling up our next question, don't forget, if you're one of the supporters, I wonder if we can do simultaneous live between your supporters group and mine.
We'll figure it out. Take like a 10-minute break.
And we'll figure it out. The Hubbard's Marina supporters group, we definitely got that one figured out. So if you're a Hubbard's Marina supporter, don't forget to pop over to that supporters after show.
Phone, maybe.
Yeah, we'll just hold it up. You'll have the green screen in the background. Yeah, we got the phone stand we can utilize finally. See, we got other stuff in the studio we don't even use.
I got it.
That's embarrassing.
I use a freaking Dorito chip clip to hold my phone. You guys got like $84 Amazon Prime.
Amazon funded this whole thing. The stars funded the whole thing.
Hey, look at
Amazon
that. Look at that. Rebecca, that's what I just learned today. When is the best time weather-wise and during the day to be fishing?
Weather-wise and during the day. The best time to fish is whenever you're available. Because don't forget, if you're too busy to go fishing.
Oh, my daughter just lost softball, by the way.
I thought you said she was already done.
No, I felt bad. Now we can stream live. I hit tell her the best time to fish.
All right. So the best time to fish is when you're available to fish. But best time of day typically depends on where you're fishing. It's a very in-depth question you just asked. We could spend an hour show talking about. But if you're inshore fishing in shallower waters, the best time is typically either in the earlier morning time prior to sunrise, like 2 to 3 hours prior to sunrise till about an hour after sunrise, especially this time of year. So it depends on time of year and where you're fishing.
Is that
winter
because
time,
of the heat, the temp, sun,
exactly.
pressure?
As we're warming up in this warmer months, the middle day, like I mentioned, that summertime
sunshine.
Doldrums sucks for fishing.
I did read a lot about that.
Yeah, the wee hours of the morning and through sunrise is really good times, and you're looking for those solunar, major, and minor tidal periods of those tidal outflows. So you're looking for those time frames in cooler times, which is end of day, dusk, through the nighttime, but really my favorite is early morning is the best time, inshore at least. Offshore fishing, still want to beat the sunrise. It kills me in the summertime when people want to leave at 9 a.m. in the morning. Well, if you leave at 9 a.m. in the morning, you're not going to get out there and start fishing until the worst time of day, 11, 12 during the day, and that's the worst time to get out there. You want to get out there early morning, get out there fishing and get established through that sunrise bite. We call it the sunrise bite and sundowners. Sundowners is like a legendary phrase among commercial, hardcore, and long-range fishermen. The sundowner and the sunrise bite is always historically and typically the best. As offshore fishing captains, we want to try to gauge our spots and our moves. Like on a 39-hour fishing trip, we leave Friday at 3 p.m. We start fishing around midnight Saturday morning, 1 a.m. Saturday morning. We fish till about 7, 8, 9 o'clock Saturday night, about 20 hours of fishing time. And when you start fishing about 1, 2 a.m., the whole time, the whole night, you're thinking about where do I want to end up. So I'm anchored up, baits in the water for sunrise. And same thing through the day. The whole time you're gearing your game plan and your moves to make sure that you're anchored up, baits on the bottom for sundown.
Peaking at the right time.
Yep.
Peak
Got to make sure you peak at the right time. Just like you don't want a hurricane to peak at the wrong time.
You know what an interesting fact? There's been 4 Category 5 hurricanes that hit the United States. And, 3 days before, all 4 of those were only tropical storms.
Wow.
3 days before.
Interesting fact.
3 days before, they were tropical storms.
The
most recent was Hurricane Michael.
Wow.
It was a tropical storm down there by the Yucatan 3 days before, and it turned into a Cat 5.
And it raced at Texas and then just stalled.
That was Harvey.
Oh, you're right.
Yeah, Harvey was
Wait,
before.
which one did you say? Michael.
Michael was Panama.
Oh, yeah.
But Harvey was probably, they both were devastating. Harvey was a weird system because it just stopped.
Yeah, it hit a wall.
Yeah, and it back to the loop eddies. It funneled all this warm water that was sitting off the coast of Texas, and 50 inches of rain, man.
Crazy.
And it's flat out there, Texas. Yeah. I mean, they're still recovering in Texas.
Flat and hot and nowhere for for the water to go.
50 inches of rain, man.
Nuts.
That's crazy.
So let's see. Yeah,
Brian just said he's a new fan. Cool, man.
Awesome. J Cube just commented about Captain Brian nailing the sundown bite yesterday. Yes,
wow.
This last 39-hour trip was a perfect example of the sundowner because it was a slow, picky trip. It was rough. I mean, you talked about how the wind was kicking up. They started fishing Saturday morning about 1 a.m. and they fished all the way through that really, really high wind period.
A lot of east winds.
Yeah, and they were 100 miles from John's Pass, man. So they got beat up pretty good through the nighttime, through the daytime, pretty steady, picky bite. And then at the very end of the trip, got anchored up for sundown on a really good spot that we haven't fished in a really long time. And the fish were there, ready to eat.
That's awesome, man.
Yeah, so it put 2 and 2 together for sure. Let's see if we can squeeze one more question in, Josh.
You know, a lot of you viewers don't know about Dylan.
What?
I saw him scream like a little baby. This guy, how tall are you? You're about 6'5"?
6'7".
Oh, my God. So a 6'7" guy, we're standing on the dock with Ada.
Whoa. I'm 6'7", over 300 pounds, and I was lifted off my feet like I was 10 pounds.
We're standing out there on the dock at Hubbard's Marina by the boats. Incoming tide. This is what you don't do during hurricane chasing. And we got surge rushing in, and all of a sudden the dock lifted up, 2-3 foot. And we all were like, ah! We were like little baby. We were like running off the dock.
I spilled my beer. But I was watching my livelihood get washed away.
But I thought we were
He's doing a live video laughing.
It's live. I got a live video of it. But man, we ran all there. It's like we just saw a rat.
My truck's underwater. The boats are floating away. My iPhone 12 was soaked in water, not working.
And I lost my
gate
magnet.
had blown away at my house.
But I lost my $15 magnet.
And a flip flop.
Oh yeah, I always lose a flip flop. It was amazing.
Yeah, that was definitely a crazy night.
Yeah, you got to make the best of it, man. You only live once, you know.
Yeah,
One thing about hurricanes.
We didn't die.
Well, no. Here's the thing about storms, hurricanes. You have a week sometimes. I mean, even with Michael, the early models were already showing the potential of a Panama City panhandle hit. So you have time. You know, tornadoes, you don't have time.
Yeah, no, I agree. I would much rather deal with a hurricane than an earthquake or a tsunami or a tornado or COVID.
Yeah.
But
you got time.
But so often, even experts or wannabe experts like myself or experts like Mike or the professionals who actually do this for a living, I mean, we jokingly always say, like, meteorologists are the only job you can have.
Yeah, 50%.
Be right 50% of the time. But I mean, it's you're working off a weather model that's essentially making educated guesses.
Yeah, but you know, I think the key to what I do is I lay it all out there and
let you make your own decision.
Yeah.
That's what I like about watching your page.
Well, you lay it out, and it kind of, you know, I hope I didn't change like this last storm. I didn't mean to, you know, I felt like I was not with this GFS.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I saw it shared so many times, and I started seeing panic in the upper Gulf for next week.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, listen, you know, 51 members of the Euro say no. Euro says no. The Icon says no. CMC says no. You know, UK says no. 30 members of the GFS say no. But yet people are panicking because of one run. And I hate that because...
Well, look at the fuel crisis we just had.
Oh, that's
over nothing.
Oh, yeah. People.
It's just panic is easily caused.
And I have a feeling this year might be a little bad because everybody's on edge.
Yeah.
You know, I posted something the other day.
There's people that still haven't left their homes since COVID happened.
Yeah, I posted something the other day and got everybody worked up. I don't remember what it was, but they blamed it on the fuel. Everybody's just tense right now. You know?
So
that's why you got to drink more whiskey.
And go fishing. Get
Go
out
to
of your house.
Marina.
Yeah.
I want to do a live show from your boat.
Yeah, it would be really cool. I've been like the last 10 years working on that, but the problem is you get out of cell phone range.
I know.
And that's the good part about it too.
Let's go out there during a hurricane.
Yeah. Well, during we have a very lengthy, probably about 25-page long hurricane preparedness plan.
Wow.
Like way over the top.
Who put that together? You got
my dad started it. I've been working on it. He's built into it a lot. We've had a lot of people. I mean, we have a killer team of very, very experienced guys. Captain Brian's been fishing local waters for close to 50 years. I mean, Captain Bobby's been around 35, 40 years. Captain Chris is older than dirt and just about as nice. That's why he's not allowed to talk to customers. But he is very experienced. We have a really great team that has contributed to those hurricane preparedness plans. But basically, tropical storm, Cat 1, Cat 2, even a Cat 5 that doesn't really get close. Basically, anything under 70, 80 mile an hour sustained winds, we can stay at our dock.
Yeah, you told me. I remember you were saying you had a spot already picked on inside there at John's Pass where you would have evacuated the boats if you needed to be. Well, then the next day, you had all that sand. You told me you had to like do a little work and
dig ourselves out,
digging yourself because all that sand came.
I rented a Bobcat.
What is the status on that?
The whole sand issue?
Yeah, I haven't heard much about that.
Yeah, I've been
hit a brick wall.
I've been neglecting to do a sand update, which I will definitely do. Yeah, it's gonna take me stopping by here one day and just doing a 30-minute diatribe on the complete and utter. See, I don't want to get worked up.
Yeah, no,
rein it in, Dylan. But basically, what's happening? A high-level, real quick update on the sand issue is we have this incredible, crippling problem. Literally, you cannot navigate John's Pass without running aground in a large vessel if you don't know what you're doing right now. Even if you're in the channel, we sustained about $25,000 in damage and probably about $75,000 in lost revenue 2 months ago, running aground in the main federal marked channel. We were in the channel, and the Coast Guard told us that essentially we got investigated because we're a U.S. Coast Guard inspected vessel, and the captain was essentially threatened that, hey, you should have known that the water was shallow there and avoided the shallow water. I was like, in the channel where we're supposed to navigate, so you want me to leave the federal marked channel in a U.S. Coast Guard inspected vessel with paying customers on board? That's what you're telling me? He was like, well, you should navigate to best water. Well, if we go outside of that federal marked channel we run aground or something happens, guess what happens?
You're in trouble, right?
Our insurance doesn't cover us. We're done. The company's over. And it's like we're being forced to operate like that outside of the channel because of these issues. And we were told by Army Corps of Engineers that Johns Pass is not and will not be important enough to qualify for Army Corps of Engineers support. And basically,
There's John. Look at there's John's best right there.
Yeah.
Well, I wonder what the current. I'm sure. I wonder if they're showing.
No, they're not, that's a
old.
what's called a bathymetric marine chart. So there's not even
he's
depth
not
soundings.
showing it. Yeah,
There's not depth soundings in there. They're showing 3 fathoms on a sandbar that's out of water at low tide. So that's totally wrong. But basically, the issue with the sand is we've gotten to a point where it's just getting worse. And now, 6 months ago, you guys made it possible, everybody watching and you helping me share it and everybody helping sign the petition and all that stuff. We built this grassroots kind of tsunami momentum, and we did. I think I did 16 news interviews in a week and a half.
Man, all the time.
It was awesome.
When I was leaving,
it was awesome.
The day after Ada, man, you had like everybody there, man.
Yeah, and it was really good. We were getting a lot of info.
They'll do a follow up.
But basically, what happened was we got all this grassroots effort, and the county came in, and the county commissioner was running for re-election, and she came in, I'll help you, I'll set this meeting, we'll do this, and she got a big donation from the property owner, and then after she won re-election, she fell asleep at the next meeting and left early, and the county administrator sat there and visibly laughed at me at the top of the stairs as I did my press conference after the meeting, talking about how much BS the meeting was. I created this Word document because no one would come up with a plan. I created a Word document with a short-term goal, long-term goal, solutions, laid it out, how we could fund it, and the county administrator, Barry Burton, took my Word document and sat there in front of the county, the city, the state, the senators, the House of Representatives, people that were there. There were 60 people there, from senators to House of Reps to local mayors, and he systematically went through the Word document to say why we can't do this, why we wouldn't do this, why Johns Pass isn't important enough to do this. And then at the end of the meeting, looked at me and said, well, we got to do a study before we do anything. Will you pay for it? I was so upset I had to leave the room. I thought I was going to get arrested.
When was this?
So this was October 6th.
Oh my God.
I walked down the stairs and did a news conference, and I have a video of it. And the video of me doing the news conference with like 3 or 4 news cameras, he's behind me on the stairs, literally covering his mouth, chuckling, laughing at me. And so fast forward,
Jesus Christ.
Finally in December, they start doing this 6-month study. We ended up paying $10,000 for a $35,000 study. The city of Madeira Beach and Mayor John Hendricks have been huge supporters. The city of Madeira Beach City Commission, huge supporters. They paid $10,000. The private landowner and ourselves, the private landowner paid $2,000. We paid $8,000. And then the county paid $7,500, FDOT paid $7,500, and that's what made up this $35,000 6-month study. Finally, that 6-month study is coming to a close. We had our first summary meeting, and they systematically went through my plan and said, these are all the problems that you've been saying were the problems for 15 years, and this is why we can't do them. So we're still on the same damn spot that we were in, unfortunately. So, and then the meeting ended early because I was asking too many questions.
Yeah, but the media's your friend. I think
I need to go back to the media, and that's what I need to do is just start doing the videos again.
Well, I think people react when there's media attention.
And that's what happened last time, so that's what we're going to have to do.
We got to go back to a follow-up because I think people forget. Honestly.
Yeah, we're going to have a beach party, Mike. You and I set up some lawn chairs, get some Hurricane Hunter beers, and throw another live video party.
I'll do whatever, man. Because I had a lot of people on my site that were animate about it and, trying to support you.
Super frustrating, long story short. And I know, guys, we're out of time. Josh, stop waving at me. We're out of time, so we're going to wrap this thing up.
I'm happy, man.
Yeah.
I made every red light. Green light.
But don't forget to pop over to the Supporters After Show and catch that live Supporters After Show where it's going to get a little bit more.
They're going to wear clothes?
A little bit more lit. I don't know. After we try this new moonshine, I don't know if anything will happen. But definitely join us for the Supporters After Show. It'll start here in about 10 minutes or so. 10 minutes or less. So make sure not to miss it.
Let me say goodbye.
Yeah.
Thanks for having me, man.
I've got a very long-winded exit.
Oh, okay. No, hey, just
kick it over to my co-host.
I'm not the co-host. I'm just saying thanks for tuning in, and it's fun. I feel local. Pinellas County, like bleed Pinellas County.
Mm-hmm.
And Dylan's a big part of it. And I did the Hurricane Expo at Madeira Beach, right down the road from you. So
I wish I would have known about that. I saw the sign. I was like,
yeah. But hey, I'm ready for the season.
You're pumped up.
I'm thank you
And
so
if
much.
you need to fill sandbags anywhere in the state, I've got a whole big old beach that you can come to.
Well, yeah.
Bring
yeah.
a dump truck, bring a bulldozer, take it all.
That's a good strategy. Well, then you won't have any support from the government because they're going to say, well, you got sandbags.
I don't have any support from the government anyways. It's useless.
Get money out of you.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm lucky because, man, I live in Oldsmar.
Mm-hmm.
And Eric Seidel's our mayor, and all the I love Oldsmar. Well, it sounds like you got a great Madeira. Your crew's pretty.
Our current city administration is awesome.
The larger system.
County is where we're running into problems.
I'm trying to get a boat ramp put up in Pinellas County.
Yeah, good luck with that.
I know, It's all good, man. But cheers, man. It's fun.
Yeah,
Thank you so much.
Yeah. Cheers to you all. Appreciate you watching, and don't forget.
Thank you, Rick.
If
Roger.
you're too busy to go fishing, you're just too busy. Don't forget to check out Mike's weather page, spaghettimodels.com.
Yeah, by Drunk Donkey.
Drunk Donkey, yeah.
Nation.
Check out his new online store and all the cool stuff that he has, the souvenirs. And speaking of online stores, we are seconds away from a soft opening to our brand new, up and coming, upgraded online store. It's going to get really, really cool. So
Did
stay
you open
tuned
up
for
something
that.
else news on John Pass? Did you open something?
There's a bunch of new stuff in
For you,
John's
though.
Pass.
Did you, you're expanding out here, man. Stores, online stores.
Oh, yeah. We got a new store location in John's
That's
Pass.
what I'm talking about, yeah.
We got a lot of stuff fancy going on.
Man.
Got a new studio.
Yeah, and I got a Dorito chip clip holding up my cameras.
With that, let's give away our 39-hour trip, and hopefully we'll see you all next week for another episode of the live stream
What's up,
show.
Jason?
This is a 39-hour fishing trip for one guest, a $400 value.
Jeez, 39 hours.
For Tiffany Amber. Shout out to Tiffany. She just came down. She's been a long-time supporter. She was one of our first supporters.
Wow.
And she just visited not too
Illinois?
recently.
She's from Illinois?
Yeah.
Wow.
Her and her boyfriend came down. So now
Hey, guys,
you
what's
got to
up?
come on back for a 39-hour trip. Hopefully you won't be too cold with our chilly low 70s.
You know what Bob Barkley says?
What?
Come on down.
Come on down. The price is right.
Oh, I love. Did you grow up? How old are you? Are you?
no,
we talked about this. You're younger than me. But I grew up watching Price is Right.
I'm referring to Happy Gilmore when him and Adam Sandler play golf
I watched
together.
the real Bob
The
Barker.
price is wrong.
I love Price is Right, man.
Yeah.
I woke up with chips and Price is Right.
All right, guys. We'll see you in the supporters after show. Hopefully, we'll see you next week. Next week, we're gonna have John Martin talking red snapper, gag grouper fishing. Hopefully, we'll get Captain Brian and Will, maybe Jason in here too. So it'll be a good one next.